Hey y'all, this is week 4 of the Porch League, Central Ohio Libero FC going up against Washington Hippopotas, coached by ChoiceScarfBrian. And I was out of town for this match, so here is a team builder and postcom. Um, yeah, so looking over both the teams, he has quite a lot of scary Pokemon. So I mean, look how top heavy this is. I say top heavy just because the top like 6 or so Pokemon are really good, but I actually think um down the list he has a pretty strong team for the tiers that these Pokemon are in. Um but yeah, we have like things like Jirachi, Kyurem, Rotom Heat, Primarina, Terrakion, just right off the bat, really strong Pokemon that are hard for any team that I think to um, really handle on team preview. Um, I mean, Terrakion choice band sets and choice scarf sets are always really good. It can also swords dance, things like that. Jirachi can be a really good Spadef wall, can set up hazards, can be a utility Pokemon, or it can just run Choice Scarf and flinch lock your Pokemon to death. Kyurem's another really good wall breaker with Terrakion. Yeah, my team doesn't really like Kyurem that much at all, actually. Just thinking about different options that I have, uh, Kyurem just breaks through a lot of things, even with freeze dry. Um, being an ice move that can hurt Slowbro a lot. Kyurem's going to be a problem for any team that I try to build with. Um, we also have things like Roserade that can set up hazards. We have Hitmontop that can get rid of hazards. We have Licky Tongue, which can Wish Pass to kind of help with sustainability against my team. And has a good speed tier against my Pokemon, and dual wing beat, and a bug move does a lot to most of my team. Um, so yeah, looking at those speed tiers, like I was saying, he's got a lot of things that threaten my team's pretty slow actually. So things like Kyurem become very scary. Jirachi, Scyther, and then obviously Terrakion. Terrakion's faster than everything, but Mienshao, save for Scarfs on my side. Um, and so that's going to be a big threat. I'm trying to figure out what he's going to do to manage my Dragapult. I mean, Brian's username is ChoiceScarfBrian, so um, in the past, he has not been afraid to run two scarves, running scarf on Rotom Heat with Trick, or on Jirachi with Trick. Um, he could definitely, um, he could definitely bring. I would, I would venture to say something like Kyurem would be something that he would choice scarf, just because of the natural type advantage that the Dragon and Ice moves have against Dragapult, and getting off like fast Draco meters on anything on my team would be nice. I'm obviously worried about choice spec sets as well for the wall breaking potential it has, and then also choice scarf Jirachi seems like another potential scarfer that he could bring, because I mean, choice scarf U-turn seems pretty fine, or iron heads. Um, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about as his potential Dragapult answers. And honestly, I'm thinking it might. I've been trying to bring a bunch of different Dragapult sets, and as much as something like just choice specs Draco Meteors would be nice against this team, I'm like I said, I'm trying to challenge myself, and so I decided that potentially maybe a choice scarf Dragapult um, will outspeed all of his scarfers. I don't think it. I think it'd take a lot, or I don't even think I could necessarily outspeed a rock polished Terrakion. But for everything else, I can probably just Choice Scarf, U-turn, or like Ghost move and a Dragon move um, against his team. So I'm looking at that potentially for Dragapult. And now looking at against his team, I really want to make sure that I can run. I want to run offense against him. I don't think with his wall breakers, I don't really think that I can just beat him on defense like I can with other teams. Mandibuzz does not look good against his team with Rotom Heat and Kyurem. I could just be setup fodder for some of his Pokemon, or it just can't be the wall that I would rely on it to be for other matchups. Um, so I'm thinking maybe potentially this is my chance to run a Sand Rush Excadrill. That helps with my speed tiers quite a bit actually, because then I can outspeed Kyurem, Terrakion, Scyther, and Jirachi, and I have stab moves that can handle all of those, save for Scyther, and then I can just run a rock move if I have the availability to. Um, so I'm thinking I'm going to bring Gigalith and Excadrill to be my offense alongside of Dragapult. And then I have to just start thinking about ways that I can patch up some weaknesses. So with Gigalith, Excadrill, and Dragapult, um, it looks like Primarina looks scary. Rotom Heat still looks scary because if I'm running Sand Rush, I can't run Mold Breaker, so I can't just Earthquake Rotom Heat. Um, but let me just switch over to my team that I ended up bringing. Show the team that I'm up against here on the right side. And just start explaining what I'm going through. So, like I said, I'm going to bring this Choice Scarf, No Vacancy, the two Dreepies coming together with U-turn, Surf, Shadow Ball, and Draco Meteor. I was not set on this third move, but as we go forward, I guess I'll explain why I chose um, Surf as the or the coverage move to go up with the stab. Here's my Gigalith. This is my Sand Setter. I'm thinking that running Smooth Rock and having as many sand turns as possible would be good because with a team like this, especially with something like um, Primarina or um, Terrakion potentially coming in on Gigalith, I can't just safely switch into Excadrill. I'm probably going to need a pivot. So maybe it goes Gigalith to Rotom and then a Volt switch into Excadrill, or maybe into Slowbro with the teleport into Excadrill. Um, Either way, the more turns of sand, the better. Um, I'm also noticing just how bulky Gigalith is. If I'm running full Spadef calcs, let me pull up some of these and take off the matchup. So like this is a Specs Kyurem up against a Gigalith, and I have a 14% chance of living two timid earth powers, and then I live two Dracos obviously after the nerf. And I kill with two rock blasts. So this could 1v1 a choice specs Kyurem, which I was very surprised with actually. I know it gets the sand buff on Spadef, but still that's like I thought I would have to be running something like a assault vest to get these sort of calcs. Um, but then like other things against his team, choice specs Primarina. Obviously, if it locks into a water move, I'm not going to be doing well against it. But it's taking it's taking Moonblasts pretty well as well. So yeah, so that's my Gigalith. I'm running Stealth Rocks because I need them, and I don't think I can run them on my Excadrill because that's going to be my sweeper. And Stealth Rocks, Rock Blast, Earthquake. Um, that's good coverage against most his team. This also becomes a good Scyther switch in if I need it to. It also can break down. I like the Rock Blast because it can break down substitutes from Kyurem. And then Explosion, if I'm finding out late game, I just need to get into Excadrill right away. I can just explode on Hitmontop or Roserade, whatever it might be. Anyway, here's an Excadrill. Swords Dance. I didn't feel like I needed to run Rapid Spin because I'll have room on Rotom for the defog. So we have Swords Dance, Earthquake, Iron Head, Rock Slide. I'm running just enough speed to outspeed his Scarfers, everything including Terrakion. When I'm in the sand, I'm running Adamant so that my Iron Heads and Earthquakes are obviously doing as much as possible, and I have Rock Slide here for the coverage for Rotom Heat and Scyther. This soft sand was helping. I couldn't really figure out what I wanted on this. I have options. He could potentially run some Hitmontop with Mach Punch sets, or even Aqua Jet with Primarina. Obviously, there's Earth Power and Earthquake from Terrakion. There's also fighting moves from Terrakion. So there's a bunch of different like resist berries that I thought about running. I ended up going with Soft Sand primarily for these calcs. Let me see this like an offensive Roserade calc against Excadrill. I'm doing a lot too, and it also really helps if he is running a, like, let's say this is or like Black Sludge. If he's running something like this, like a faster bulky set or something, then my Earthquakes do a lot more with Soft Sand than without. Even things like Primarina, if I'm running the Soft Sand on it, I get my calcs start looking a lot better with Earthquake, and Earthquake is the more spammable move of the two against his team, in my opinion. So yeah, 93 to 110. This is looking really good. Oko's after rocks. Potential to Oko, well, kill after the sand damage. And then it's also looking good against like Terrakion sets if he's running Shuckaberry or something. I'm also thinking against Terrakion, I might just click Iron Head because it also has a chance to kill, and I think you'd be less likely to run the Steel Berries or anything like that. So anyway, those are. Oh, I almost quit. That's almost sucked. That's sort of my offense. These, I doubt I'm going to be able to click Swords Dance. That's partially why I'm just running max attack. Soft Sand, so I can just hit things hard right away. And honestly, in most instances, I think just clicking 2 Earthquakes would be better than a Swords Dance and an Earthquake, because I think he will have potential revenge killers with Hitmontop and Primarina. I'm also just looking at his team and thinking that Rotom Heat. I feel like I need to bring Slowbro for things like Terrakion, and Rotom Mo helps me pivot around. Spadef Rotom Mo helps me pivot around Primarina. So especially because I'm bringing these two, I feel like I need more Rotom Heat coverage. So Rotom Heat, this provides Rotom Heat coverage and a stab move on Terrakion and Sandaconda. So I mean the water move is fine. This Slowbro set, I EV'd so that I can be very fine against a lot of Terrakion sets. It helps against Choice Band. Even Swords Dance doesn't really do that much. And then the rest I'm putting in Spadef. This helps against Kyurem that's locked into anything besides Freeze Dry. It's also living some more just standard Freeze Dries this way. And then I have just the 4 in speed in case he does bring the Licky Tongue. Then I can slack off in front of it, or I can click off a move, and if I want, I can still do the minus priority teleport in front of it. Scald Psyshock does well against his Pokemon that I would potentially bring this out in front of, including Terrakion and Hitmontop. And then we have some recovery and some teleport. And Rotom-Mow is just a more standard set. I decided to run Discharge over Thunderbolt because I would rather get because if this is in front of Primarina or something, or or even Hitmontop in some instances, I would rather on the Switch get some chances for paralysis because with this investment, I feel comfortable just discharging things instead of the Thunderbolt. This investment does give me a way to handle. Pretty sure that 148 is for Primarina. Yeah, let's say this is bold. So if he's running some bold sets, then this Leaf Storm is doing quite a bit. It also gives me the 2-hit KO with Discharge. There were some other calcs where I felt like the 148 was good, and the and I'm running 220 speed to really just what was that exactly? I don't remember. I think it had something to do with oh, I think that's actually to outspeed Primarina. Anyhow, this is a long team builder. I hope it helps. I hope it's not completely boring. Like I said, this is mainly here for my Primarina answer. So I really hope that yeah, like let's say if I go 252, yeah. So it's outspeeding non-timid Primarina. It has enough Spadef to do some okay things with it. Let's say even if I'm running let's say Choice Specs Modest. 220 is faster than Primarina. I'm also doing okay against with this Spadef investment. I'm doing okay to live 2 Psychics and live basically. I can switch into anything but Moonblast, and Leaf Storm at this 148 is doing as much damage as I felt like I could. So this calc is all of these EVs are set for this primary matchup. The Choice Specs, Modest, Max Attack, Max Special Attack, Max Speed, Primarina. Next up, last is this Mienshao. I decided to run Assault Vest over Choice Scarf because I felt like if I wanted it to get faster than Scarf Rotom Heat, or if I wanted it to get faster than Kyurem, then I could just run an Assault Vest on it and tank a hit and possibly I don't know, provide a little bit more utility for my team that way. I also don't want to just run double Scarf against his team if I don't feel like I have to. So being able to tank a hit, get off a hit, and then U-turn out, not being locked into close combat or knockoff or things like that, could be really good against his team. I like also the Assault Vest Regenerator U-turn combination that this has. So anyway, that's the team. I definitely have to worry about getting outsped by Scarf Jirachi or obviously Terrakion, which is naturally faster than it. But like just a standard Mienshao Assault Vest. This isn't like a fancy calc. See, it doesn't do well against Primarina at all. But against Kyurem, Choice Specs, Tim, and Kiram. I'm living the Ice Beams. I'm living Freeze Dries. Obviously, I still can't live Draco Meteors, but I'm going faster than it and killing with close combat. So, and then like here's an example of a Rotom calc. Let me just go 252 special attack so you can see. I'm living overheats when I otherwise when I otherwise wouldn't be living overheats. And I'm doing a lot. If he wants to run Scarf or heavy duty boots, I can knock him off. I can U-turn out, etc. So that is my team. One thing that I like about my team overall is that Gigalith is a potential pivot. Obviously, it doesn't get a pivot move, but it can take quite a few things pretty well, and then I can switch into something else. Like I said, I'm hoping to get the Sandstorm up for as long as possible. Excadrill is quite bulky on it in its own right, and then one U-turner, two U-turners, one teleporter, one volt switcher. All four of these, two with regenerator options, can really help me get into my primary offense, which is Excadrill and Dragapult, and sort of a secondary offense with Rotom and Mienshao. So that's my team, and here is the matchup. As you can sort of see on team preview, I kept his whole team up on the right here. So I'm noticing no Jirachi. I'm noticing no Scyther. I'm noticing no Sandaconda. Those are the Pokemon I thought he could bring, but he ended up not bringing. I mean, his team is still full of a lot of the scary things that I was talking about. He has the potential. He has the Kyurem, which can wall break against both my two defensive Pokemon that I ended up bringing, and Primarina, which Choice Specs looks. I mean, it has a stab move that against 4 out of my 6 Pokemon. So these two are kind of scary threats. We also have Rotom Heat, which can potentially Will-O-Wisp some of my attackers. And it's also can do some wall breaking as stab moves against both my two defensive Pokemon, and obviously as Nasty Plot. So these three seem pretty scary. When I'm looking at potential Scarfers to handle for some speed control against Dragapult, I'm thinking potentially Kyurem and Rotom Heat. He could potentially be running Sucker Punch on Hitmontop. And then I'm looking at Terrakion looks pretty scary if Slowbro has some prior damage on it, or if Slowbro is taken care of. So I'm thinking I'm going to need Rotom to basically be there for Primarina until I figure out what set it is, and then I'm going to need Slowbro to handle Terrakion and Hitmontop. I mean, Intimidate is a scary, or does well against my team. It becomes just the revenge to any sort of, like, Excadrill can't sweep so long as Intimidate. Hitmontop is around, and even the Technician with Mach Punch is doing a lot to Excadrill. So Slowbro will kind of be my pivot around these two Pokemon. And then we have Mienshao, which can potentially, I mean, it's going to honestly just be there because it can, it outspeeds the whole team minus Terrakion. So getting some good knockoffs off. Assault Vest, like I said, is living Rotom Heat calcs that it would otherwise not live. I can knock off, I can close combat, I can U-turn in front of it. And then we have Gigalith. So, I mean, the big thing is eventually we're going to have a Kyurem switch in, and I think it's just going to depend on what move he locks into. If he's a Scarf set, Otherwise, if he's not a Scarf set, then I just need to maybe sack something and bring in Dragapult to start clicking moves. Shadow Balls from Dragapult look pretty free here, so if I can get that in at any point, that'll be good. And honestly, I can. And Earthquakes from Excadrill look great here too. Until and especially if I can handle that Hitmontop. So I recorded the match twice post-com with, but both times I accidentally left this Brian's team up in the overlay. So third time's the charm. I ended up leading here with Mienshao because I feel like the most threatening thing that he could lead with me right away would just be a Choice Specs Kyurem. So I'm covering for that. And because I'm Assault Vest, I can still handle this sort of matchup provided he's Scarf, which he shows that he is turn 1 with Overheat. So I live this on the U-turn. And this is as much information as I could want out of a turn 1. I survive. I'm going to regenerate, get back up to 50% on the next time I come in. And I see that he's Choice Scarf. He's also -2, so I can freely go into Dragapult and just start firing off Shadow Balls. Shadow Ball and Excadrill's Earthquake look great against his team because he doesn't really have the best switch-ins. This is Spadef Pokemon, but if I can weaken this, then that's awesome for Excadrill late game. And then with Excadrill, he doesn't really have much of a switch in at all. Hitmontop kind of functions as a good revenge Pokemon, but it doesn't want to just keep coming in to intimidate and taking hits from Excadrill. And Rotom Heat is, especially Scarf, now I know that it my rocks will hurt it quite a bit. Isn't really like an Excadrill switch in. So I'm free to click Shadow Ball. I am Scarf. I don't want to reveal, or I mean, I can't. I'm just switching out here instead of staying in and capitalizing on the Shadow Ball, because this is my designated switch in. And then, so in these first 3 turns, I found out that that this is actually the first 2 turns I found out this item as leftovers, this item as Choice Scarf, and it's running Protect. So that's some good intel on me early on. Intel for me. I end up clicking Volt Switch in front of Primarina, assuming the Protect, just to sort of condition him into thinking that I will Volt Switch. But my primary role right now is to just click Discharge, because if he wants to switch out into anything, then Discharge is either good chip or it provides an opportunity for paralysis. So I also see that his switch into my Rotom, at least at first, was Kyurem. I don't know if that's because he wants to keep this healthy for Dragapult or what the case may be, but I will gladly paralyze this later. He goes Freeze Dry on my switch to Slowbro, and I'm able to see based on the calcs that this is not Choice Specs. Maybe it's Choice Scarf. That provides another opportunity for ChoiceScarfBrian to outspeed Dragapult. Even just knowing that Rotom Heat is Choice Scarf doesn't necessarily, with Brian's team building, mean that Kyurem won't be either. So now that I know that it's not Choice Specs, that gives me some good information. I'm gonna go Gigalith now. He clicks Freeze Dry again. Maybe it's Choice Scarf. Maybe he's just masking it. It's not doing really much to Gigalith at all, and I'm able to get up my rocks on the Roserade switch. I want to play this team offensively. I want to get in Excadrill and Dragapult as much times as possible. So because this could be clicking a Grass move, or because both of its stab moves Dragapult resists, I'm actually going to make the more aggressive switch into Dragapult instead of maybe like potentially Mienshao. I find out that it's Life Orb, so this is a more offensive Roserade, and U-Turn's doing quite a bit. I figured since he stayed in, he was either sacking it or clicking Dazzling Gleam as a coverage move on this, or getting up a spike um, as a like an as like a I guess a Hail Mary situation in case I didn't click um, Draco Meteor in front of it. So I click U-turn. I get an Excadrill on the Dazzling Gleam, and now I can just click these Earthquakes. He doesn't have a good switch in, so I think he just decides, okay, sack that, and he brings in this amazing revenge situation for Excadrill. At this part in the match, maybe I could have predicted it earlier, but this is when I realized that every time I click Stealth Rocks and have Excadrill out, it invites in Hitmontop, and then that will in turn invite in Slowbro. So this matchup, this sort of like situation where I bring in one of these, this has to come out, this has to come out, will happen. And to be quite honest, I'm okay with it because that gives me more opportunities to bring in Slowbro. If it gets, I feel like honestly, if this just gets low on health, I just need to get up Rock so that I can bring this back in on Hitmontop and then either slack off or Regenerator back to a better position. These two are not in the best position health wise. So if I can get, I mean, these I want to get in for as much as possible to maintain offensive pressure, but at the same time, I want to at least get these in a couple times to heal them back up. So here he gets rid of the rocks and then goes Primarina on my teleport. I can bring in Rotom-Mow, and you know, this is going to get the he's just going to try to get some health back. I end up volt switching here, like I said, because I'm realizing actually Mienshao looks a lot better at 85% than it does at 60%. So I'm going to keep that healthy by just giving it an opportunity to switch in, get the U-turn, get some chip damage, and I can always just go back into Slowbro. So here I Psyshock in the matchup between Slowbro and Hitmontop, just because it's now at a place where I can kill it if he wants to stay in, and it provides good chip against against the rest of his team as well. And I'm at pretty good health. If I was closer to 50%, maybe I'd just switch out, but I want to get chip off when I can, especially since I can't keep Roxom until that's gone. So I switch into Gigalith on this. I know it's Scarfed. He doesn't have the many options for it, so I can get up rocks again if I want. And that's what happens. I go Slowbro. He can click whatever move he wants. If he clicks Rapid Spin, if he clicks Triple Axle, it doesn't matter. I can click Psyshock again. He ends up, because he didn't click Rapid Spin the first time, he ends up sacking this to get rocks off the field on that turn. Now I can go Kyurem, and honestly, here I was okay, even though Freeze Dry was doing a whole lot, and this is really nice against Terrakion. I was okay letting this get really low because if he locks himself into Freeze Dry at this point, I'm in or if this Slowbro dies, I'm actually, with this being at 54% health, this being at 92, I am actually really kind of banking on this Stealth Rock Gigalith into Explosion, and then just trying to do as much as I can with Excadrill. So I teleport here into Mienshao. Here I can, if he is locked into Earth Power, I know I can live. That's part of the reason why I did it. And because I knew he was, and if he wasn't Choice Scarf locked in, then I was outspeeding. So I felt like it was free to click Knockoff. I click Knockoff to get rid of this thing's Choice Scarf. I click Knockoff again as he sacks it. And now I'm in really good position again, because anytime he wants to go Primarina, I get a free Rotom-Mow, and I get in some free discharges. So he does show Sub. I'm thinking maybe Sub Protect, Calm Mind attacking move, or just Sub Protected is good against most of my team except for this thing. So like I said, I'm just free to click discharges. I'm just going to click discharge um, until he wants to switch out or take a lot of damage from this. Even at -1 special attack, this is still breaking subs. It's still providing good pressure. So I'm clicking discharge. Here I switch into Mian Shao. He switches out. I get a good knockoff on Primarina, so it just can't keep getting passive recovery with the leftovers. And now Rotamo, I can once again just fire off these discharges. I'm really happy with this team because the things that I needed each of the Pokemon for, they were used for. So Rotamo became that good Primarina check. And then Slowbro and Mienshao provided those pivots and could stay healthy. I wasn't really able at this point to still get the, like, I only clicked Shadow Ball once, and I only clicked Earthquake once with my 2 offensive Pokemon. But I'm in a really good situation now to potentially 58% on Primarina, to potentially just get up Stealth Rocks and Earthquake win out. Or even like I'm getting in a position for Dragapult even locked in to potentially sweep. So here I decide actually to, this was a little risky in that I could have lost my Rotamo to a choice Scarf. Even paralyzed, I think it outsped Rotamo. But I figure, if he wants to lock himself into something, then it does give me that Stealth Rocks and then Earthquake Sweep. I end up going Mienshao here because I know that I'm faster, and I know that I can just click a move. I end up clicking Rock Tomb. I didn't know if he would put himself in a situation to just hard switch in Terrakion on a potential knockoff to get the justified boost and to be faster than this. So I went for Rock Tomb because it would at least nerf the speed of the Terrakion, and it still killed the Kyurem outright anyway. I'm able to U-turn into Slowbro. I thought I could do better in this situation, but because he's just clicking Moonblast, it's not actually very helpful for my team. I end up teleporting here instead of just hard switching into Rotom because I'm a little bit lower. Now I'm at 61%. I can just discharge, take out this, and then I didn't really want this situation because if I miss a leaf, I could kill this with Leaf Storm. I'm kind of forcing him though to click an attack instead of setup. And then I end up winning this more on the defensive side with Rotom and Slowbro. He gets the Stone Edge crit, which makes the game a little bit more scary, but I'm still good. I end up winning the game defensively with Rotom and Slowbro rather than offensively with Excadrill and Dragapult. And I think the primary reason for that is, you can see the rest of this out. I didn't have to slack off at the end and just prolong the game one more turn. I could have just scalded. That wasn't me being a bad sport. It was me just overthinking his win cons at that point once he was focus sashed. Anyway, I ended up winning the battle. GG to Brian. This situation, I ended up, like I said, winning on the defensive side with Rotamo, Slowbro, and sort of the Regenerator core, plus this leftover Spadef Pokemon for Primarina, instead of the offensive side. And that was not necessarily by my design, but by the team that he brought. With this being Choice Scarf instead of Nasty Plot, and with neither of these 2 Pokemon, Primarina or Kyurem, being Choice Specs, then my walls can be walls. These are the potential wall breakers that that weren't necessarily built to wall break, so I could use my walls the way they were. And like I said, I had a few outs during the game where I could have just went Gigalith, Stealth Rocks, Explosion, or just sacked it and then went another way and then went Excadrill to sweep at the end. If the opportunity provided itself, I would have done that as well. But I felt so long as I could just pivot, I might as well win that way. So GG's to Brian. His team is very hard to prep for. Now I'll just bring up the um, the matchup so you can see. Yeah, his team is very difficult to prep for. Very top heavy without any disadvantages of that. His low tiers work well with it. So yeah, good luck to him for the rest of the season. I hope he continues to do well because I think he's playing better than his record is. So let me look on to I'm just going to go, nope, here. This is this week's matchup. We're playing, when this goes live, we'll be either playing the next day or the same day as this goes live. And it's going to be a scary match. He's got two of our top tiers and just a lot of good options against my team. I haven't really, I mean, I can just show you. I haven't even started building yet. So, yeah, that game is up against Ian and the Houston Haxers. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.